Greetings, ladies and gentle readers. I'm Dwyer, and I'm back with yet another review of a science fiction book this time. It is, as you can see, StarFighter Rising. StarFighter Rising series, book one from Daniel Sieg Miller. Now, interestingly enough, I noticed on Amazon right away, you can see over here, it doesn't have a lot of reviews to its name. But I actually enjoyed the book, and I'm not entirely certain why. It's a little bit of a head scratcher. It's a little bit of a head scratcher. Without giving away uh, too much, I can't say that I think it was done perfectly from start to finish. I can't say there weren't some odd parts throughout the book. I can say I liked how it opened. It told us really, really fast what the motivations and interests of the main character was. That's fantastic. It does a jump at that point to a moment later in that character's life. And I can clearly point at that and be like, I kind of wanted to know a little bit more in between, point A and point B. And that kind of annoyed me that that wasn't there. That said, I still enjoyed it. But it was just a fun, as it's labeled, it was a fun adventure novel that I just liked. Obviously, it leans pretty heavy into the military aspect because, as you can see here from as the immediately as the cover kind of indicates with the whole Starfighter thing, they're currently fighting something, so there's a military aspect to it. Long story short, the character wants to be a starfighter pilot. He gives it his all. Doesn't quite work out in the beginning, but in the end, as we know from the series title, he's obviously going to get there. And I enjoyed the journey that they went on. The world that they've created in this particular universe wasn't anything completely groundbreaking, but it was just entertaining. There's a backstory. You kind of want to know, what's going to happen next, how this or that came to be. But that said, it wasn't anything like mind-numbingly outstanding, but I really enjoyed it. I think I read this in an evening. How long was this? Yeah, only 378 pages. I pretty much read it in one evening. I really enjoyed it. What you're gonna get is a character, like I said, wants to be a pilot, eventually gets to be a pilot. There's a whole bunch of mystery surrounding why I don't think this is a spoiler, why he is a good pilot. There's some mystery surrounding the war that's currently going on that, he wants to fight in. The characters around the main character seem to have their own motivations, which was nice. It wasn't just what you tend to see with, Inferior Ray with a bunch of just, yes men just kind of pushing the character along. And it just left me wanting to read the next book, which apparently is out. Yeah, it came out November 30th. So I will be grabbing that and reading that one up next. Either way, I can give it my seal of approval if you're looking for a nice science fiction series with, dogfighting in space, a character trying to prove himself. That's not going to be anything earth-shattering, but just a nice little tale in space with, fun jacks and action and some cool characters along the way. Even some of the side characters, they're kind of unique and interesting to read about too. Either way, can't wait for the next one. And if you want to know more in the spoiler section, stick around, because we will be spoiling it right now. So, last chance. Spoilers coming up. Alrighty then. So yeah, Starfighter, the main character, obviously, as you can see, he is good old Conrad, and unbeknownst to him, his parents did mess with his genetics just a little bit to be essentially the perfect starfighter pilot, but not to kind of show off what he is too early. So the book starts off with him as a boy essentially playing video games, trying to be, the pilot in the video games. So it establishes early on this is what he drives, this is what he wants to do for his life. Great. We jump ahead in time. He's in a pilot seat. Think he's in the academy or fresh out of the academy, something, putting on shows, and he screws up. But with the untold billions amount of people out there, so many people want to be starfighter pilots, that screw up flatlines his career, and he winds up on a cargo hauler, essentially. Not quite the glamorous thing that he had envisioned. As luck would have it, this cargo hauler is in for a rough time. It's carting some VIPs to a war site because, wars happened in the past amongst the stars, and it kind of like ties in like a social media aspect because you got like these young rich dudes who are like, oh yeah, I want to go here and get my Instagrams going on and shoot up the old TikTok. It's not called any of that, but essentially that's like the the motive behind it, right? They're all chasing those views with the backdrop of like the sick place that people don't usually get to go to. And so yeah, he's hauling them in there. And it turns out the memorial site isn't really, or it's not really called, it's not a memorial site. The site of battle, whatever, isn't as dead as expected. Turns out they're back, and yeah, they're gonna try to kill everybody again. Luckily enough, again, fate would have it, he's there, and he hops into an old, I'm not even sure if you call it a starfighter. Essentially, it's just like a gun with wings, and he manages to shoot down the scouts that are there that were, setting up for the big invasion, which tips off the fleet. His prowess during this, while other ships were, of course, being, blasted apart, he risked his life, saved his people, looked like he had some skills while he was doing it, earns him a chance to actually get behind the stick of an actual starfighter. So, yay, good for that. Like I said, not a lot of this like isn't been done before. I just really enjoyed how it came across, and I can't even put my finger on why. It's just like, yeah, I enjoyed that. It was just, I guess it was just written well, or at least well enough to get my attention. And it didn't really try to be anything more than it was, so it was just a good read for an evening. That said, humanity's barely holding on against the kind of the sneak attack that this force was kind of setting up for. They're very, very upset that this stupid pilot almost ruined their attack, so they kind of like scramble some ships to go ahead and kill him and ruin morale because he's like the hero of battle, whatever now. So yeah, they scramble some ships to kill him. That obviously fails. But over the course of that failure, turns out little pilot's a little bit more special than people knew at first glance, and so more people start wanting him for various reasons that I will not be spoiling. So rather than like be carted away and locked behind a desk, they go towards the frontier again to do some interesting things. And while we're there, we learn that there's an even bigger coup afoot where some of the people that are giving him orders perhaps are maybe siding with the enemy, and they have to figure that out before it all goes kaboom. Like I said, nothing terribly groundbreaking. I just thought I really liked how it was put together. It was an enjoyable read, as I've said repeatedly at this point. And if you're looking for a nice science fiction novel where you want to see some cool dogfighting in space with a background of like these enemies coming together and some of your allies maybe going like, maybe we should be like, with them because they're pretty like, jacked up kind of half man, half machine kind of dealios, I guess you'd say. I guess I think that's like the winning side. You kind of gotta navigate all of that. I mean, it's just fun. It's just fun. I recommend it. Starfighter Rising, Daniel Sigmiller. That sounds interesting to you? Pick it up. Can't go wrong.